Hello and welcome to the Nerdium. I am so excited to see you guys this month. We have a really great show ahead of us. We have Relatable Nerds on here talking about their podcast, different comic books, things like Star Wars and everything. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And we also have the beautiful Brittney coming in. You guys may not know her face a lot, but she is indeed the face of this show. She is the one who made the logo. She's an artist, animator, and you guys stay tuned so you guys can check out all the things about her. And welcome back to the Nerdium. I am joined here with the two hosts of Relatable Nerd. How are you, ladies?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
I really appreciate you guys coming on and everything. Tell us about the podcast. I feel like that's the main thing I want to hear about right now. I love the both of you. Tell me how you two came together to make Relatable Nerd.
So we actually met. We're industry people. We work at like bars and restaurants around the city. Mm-hmm. So we met the year before COVID happened. And then it kind of like put a halt to everything. And so we decided to just start a podcast that was kind of for our restaurant crew at first, like our friends and family.
Well, yeah, because so we used to just like joke around with each other and talk about like the most random stuff. We would just do bits all day. And then people around us at work were like, you guys should start a podcast.
Right. And we're like, no way. Why would we do? Everybody has a podcast. We're not going to do that. That's too hard. But
to COVID, we're so bored that we decided to create a podcast.
Yeah. And why did you choose for it to be about nerds?
That's what we would just always talk about. You know, I'm a big comic book nerd. I've always loved comic books. I've been reading them since I was a kid. Like, I have like a big collection. I'm like that weird nerd. And Kyra is super into Star Wars. And like so like she kind of likes comic books and I kind of like Star Wars, but together like we got each other more into the other thing. Yeah. And so we became like super nerds together. We were just like two regular nerds and then super together.
I feel like we got lucky too because there was so much going on with Disney Plus and like all these TV shows that were coming out. So it was like the perfect time to capitalize on a podcast and a YouTube just because there's so much to talk about and we literally like it's hard to cover all of it sometimes. So
I mean, especially 2020, you had like The Mandalorian came out in 2020. They are going to beat us to death with anything Avengers. So I think that's perfect. I mean,
yeah, we were there like peak WandaVision, so we like covered like all of WandaVision and Loki, so we were like lucky that everything was kind of like coming out at that time.
I mean, you said you love Star Wars. Like, what's best and worst Star Wars?
Oh man, so I grew up with the prequels. So those are the first movies I got to see in theaters. So those hold an extremely special place in my heart. And I'm glad now that they have like Obi-Wan, like Kenobi, his show, and there's shows that actually, you know, bringing Hayden Christensen back as Anakin and Darth Vader and stuff. And people are starting to appreciate those. So I love the prequels, which very controversial. People don't like loving the prequels.
I think they don't get enough appreciation because Return of the Sith has to be the best.
It's so good.
It was the best one that I've personally ever seen, but I think what was his name? Jar Jar Binks is like the most hated out of everybody.
I know.
I don't like C-3PO personally, but
he's kind of a know-it-all.
He's
helps, but he's kind of
oh my god, I love C-3PO.
You would, sure.
I love droids. Love droids.
They actually brought back Jar Jar Binks' character in this season of The Mandalorian as Jedi Master Kelleran, who actually rescued Grogu, Baby Yoda, from Order 66 when it was happening. So I thought that was so cool. They're kind of giving him his redemption arc, which is like well-deserved. Because Jar Jar Binks was fun as a kid. It was like the same thing with the Ewoks.
Yeah.
It's like, I love seeing these creatures. Why are we hating on them? Like his whole world was so cool. The Gungans underwater and stuff. That was like one of my favorite parts as a kid.
I love Ewoks. I identify so strongly with Ewoks. Like they are my people. Like the best part was like when this little like guy, he's just so small and he's like trying to attack Leia. And then Leia's like, no, here's a cracker. And he's like, oh, okay. 100%. You have my loyalty. Like, come back with me to my village. Like, you're everything. That's me. I'm like, you gave me like a piece of pizza. I'm like, we're best friends. Like, let's go.
I love how y'all can pronounce the names of everything in
Years
Star Wars.
of practice.
Because a lot of people, I had a friend that called it. He was like, it's a Scythius. I was like, you're adding more syllables to that word than necessary.
Yeah.
But you say you like comic books. What comic books did you kind of grow up on?
Well, my first like foray into comics were like the Archie comics, like Sabrina and those kind of things. And then I got into more like Marvel. I was super into like Sonic the Hedgehog, I remember. So I did read like some Sonic, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is all like based on like cartoons that I would watch. I'd be like, oh, they have the comic book for it. And then I would start reading that. Then I got like super into Marvel. I became like a super like Marvel head where I was just like constantly like just trying to keep up with all those things that were going on. I'm more chill about it now. Like I just read for enjoyment, not to like stay up on everything. But yeah, anything really just I'm reading Monstrous right now.
Oh, so yeah, you're real deep into comics. I mean, have you ever looked at like Riverdale? Did you like Riverdale?
I haven't watched Riverdale, but I know that I will like it because I am into like the Archie comics. Did start me off, but
It's not
yeah.
good anymore, though. It used to be good like the first couple seasons, but now it's just like kind of weird. It's like a musical kind of. I don't know.
It's like
That's interesting.
a lot of shows like they'll start off good in like the first 3 to 4 seasons, and I feel like The Walking Dead did that.
Yeah.
True Blood did that too. So I would say watch a few seasons of it. So I mean that's real interesting though. Have you read any recent comic books or anything coming out that you're like excited for, want to read or talk about?
I've actually been super into, I know that they're releasing like Dune comics, and we're also like big fans of like Dune, the sci-fi series. So I've actually been interested in like picking those up. And then I like the side-along Star Wars stories. So I think I'm actually kind of like moving into getting into more sci-fi right now. Not that I won't stop reading, Spider-Man, but like I will I'm starting to pick up more like sci-fi ones.
And I mean, yeah, it's the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out soon. I'm not sure when it does. I feel like when it comes to Marvel, I can't keep up with how much content they kind of give me at this point. But I'm always happy to see when it's like Spider-Man, because unpopular opinion, I feel like they focus on a lot of B characters now. Like, I don't care what's happening with Wanda or Vision.
Oh God.
Big words.
We care so much.
And that's what makes it like this weird, because I feel like once they kind of left like the big ones, the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, I kind of started getting characters where I was just like, I like Loki, but I never wanted to watch a show about Loki. I don't know. But it's just like, do you want to watch a movie about Batman or like Detective Gordon? You probably like both of them, but
honestly, we would like both of them. Those sounds like really good. They should do like a side series.
They kind of Gotham was kind of
like that. And I felt like a lot of people kept sitting there waiting for him to turn into Batman. So it was just, I don't know. How do you feel about that when they focus less on the big characters? Like obviously Iron Man is a big character, but if they start to focus on, I don't know, Pepper more than him, would y'all like that? That's something interesting.
I personally don't like her character that much. So I like her in the comics more than how she's portrayed in the movies. I feel like she's way more intellectual and kind of like into the Stark Industries more in the comics. But I get what you're saying with the B-side characters. I think Marvel has like this insane master plan though until like 2030 at this point.
Yeah.
So I think they're just trying to build this like strong cast around the Avengers because, Spider-Man's going to come back. There's rumors Iron Man's going to come back now. Like I feel like they can never really let them go. But I can see what you're saying. Some of the shows, I know a lot of people didn't like Miss Marvel that much too.
And so I actually kind of liked Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
I guess my issue with WandaVision was it has a slow start. It's kind of slow to me. And
yeah, it's like you're trying to figure out what's going on.
And I was just like, after episode 2, I was like, it hasn't caught me yet. So I'll admit I gave up before I made it to episode 3. But I don't know, that's interesting. And I'm assuming this is about the content that happens on Relatable Nerd. But sure, y'all get more in depth. Y'all know more than me, I promise you.
We do. We definitely go into detail, but we call ourselves like relatable nerds because we don't like gatekeep anything. Like we're not going to judge someone just because you haven't seen anything, because there's so much to talk about. Like there's so many comic books. Like no, I haven't read every comic book ever. Do I still like them? Yes. Like, but I'm not going to make anyone feel bad because I've read more comic books than you, or I've seen more TV shows than you. So I feel like we're kind of like cool with that kind of thing. Like I don't care if people haven't seen it. You can come listen to our podcast, and we almost kind of like make fun of the things that we like because that's how we grew up. It's kind of like, you know, you make fun of the things that you love. So we kind of just have a good time like talking about it. It's not like super in-depth in detail. Like we definitely know what we're talking about, I would say, for the most part. Anyone can come for me, but
I think we try to approach it in a way, if you're listening to the first time, you don't have to watch WandaVision, Loki, Miss Marvel, all of these shows before. And I think that's the core of the show, is we want to make it relatable to everybody. We want to approach it in such a way that anybody listening could kind of, you know, relate with us and kind of see where we're going with it, which the comedic twist on it, I think helps a lot, just because we do kind of like, wow, we watch so many of these shows, we don't have a life. But I
feel like it makes
it's very like lighthearted.
It makes it less intimidating for someone who's kind of just getting started. And I call myself a nerd because I kind of like a little bit of everything. But I want to say my journey kind of started off with anime. And anime has a lot of gatekeeping.
Right.
An unnecessary amount of it. And I could sit here and say, I started watching anime in the 90s, but I will have somebody who started watching it 2 weeks ago tell me, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not trying to, but I think I do. I don't know a little bit, but I seem pretty old. I don't know. So I like that. I like that quality that y'all keep it open for everybody who's been watching it for 30 years or maybe for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. For example, like I remember when we first started, we were doing WandaVision, and one of my friends listened to the podcast, like early listener, and she was like, can I have your Disney Plus password? Because I want to start watching WandaVision because you guys made me want to watch it. So someone who's like not into like comics and was just like being a supportive friend, like listening, like actually got interested in the things that we talk about because of the way we talked about it.
I think it's cool too in the nerd world. I feel like podcasts, YouTube channels are so oversaturated with gatekeeping men specifically.
Yes, white
so
men.
That's something that before we got into it, we were just like, there's all these like nerdy men out there gatekeeping everything, and kind of, I feel like that's been our experience a lot at comic conventions. We go to certain things in our comments on YouTube, like there's always men coming in our comments like, you don't know this, you're a woman, like, you know, things like that. So
it's like a stigma and stereotype that a lot of people keep to when a lot of these things were initially made for women. A lot of people don't know that because many years ago we was forced to stay at home. So things like comic books, especially video games, were directly designed for women, and men took it over. So I like the fact that y'all kind of keep that, and that is a fact. Whichever camera. That's a fact. Comic books, a lot of TV shows, video games were all tailored towards women because we had to stay within the household. Men, late night talk show and television was catered towards men because you were gone the whole day until you made it home at night. So the fact that there's more women coming out into an industry that's supposed to have been ours and actually taking over it, I love to see it. And I really appreciate you two both coming to the show today. I love this conversation. If you guys, where can we watch Relatable Nerd at? What's the Instagram, YouTube, everything?
So you can find us everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's just under Relatable Nerds. Dang. Some of them have 2 S's though, because somebody took
Yeah, we're Relatable Nerds, double S on Instagram, but Relatable Nerds everywhere else.
Yeah.
Hey, and you guys know exactly where you can follow them at. And you guys stay tuned for our next guest. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I am here with the second guest, and while you guys may not recognize her face, I know you know her art. She is the one who made the logo for the Nerdium. Brittney, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you was able to be here with us and sit down and everything. And do you just make logos? Let me start off with that question. Is your art more everywhere, or is it just in logos?
It's everywhere. I kind of
Nice.
do everything. I found Maurice through making an animation, actually. He needed a short animated clip for one of his projects. And then after that, he asked if I could do one of the logos. I forgot which show it was for. And then after that, I just started making more for him. But I make all kinds of things. I do illustrations,
Nice.
occasionally logos. Animation's my main squeeze.
Oh, is it? And what type of animation does that lean more to? Like, is it more short? Have you done anything that was like 30? I can imagine that's so hard to do. Something that's 30 minutes long. How long have you been doing animation?
At this point, for about 10 years, if you're counting school time. I studied it, and I got my BFA in animation in 2014, so I started in 2010. And ever since, I've been doing like independent animation, mostly stuff for me. Occasionally some freelance work, which how I got into all of this anyway. And most of my animations are on the shorter side. I think the longest one is 10 minutes. But I did work on a project with Northwestern University, and it was about 8 to 10 minutes of animated work in a larger, like 30 or so minutes long project.
Wow. Are you currently open to freelance, or are you kind of just keeping it more focused on yourself or small things around you?
I'm keeping it focused on myself right now.
Fair enough. That's a lot. And I mean, with all of the things, because the logo for the Nerdium, the first time I saw it, I like how it was different variations of it. And how do you go about picking out how to do a logo? Because I know that for me, I had sent like different images and everything. Is that the norm? People send you images, things that they want in it? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I mostly just make logos for you guys.
Oh, okay. That's an us thing. Okay.
When I do make logos, though, like generically, I do like for people to tell me what it's going to be for, the feeling they want. Are there other logos with a similar feeling or look that they like? And, just kind of like generically, if you were picking random things, like what you kind of want it to look like. So as much images as possible. When I work with Maurice, he actually gives me like a pretty long rundown of like style, what it's for.
I can believe it. Yeah.
A few images. And then if I have any questions, I'll ask some clarifying questions. But like I feel like we communicate really well. So like I usually understand pretty quickly what he means. So then I do like 3 or so roughs. And then he tells me what he likes, doesn't like about them. And then I do 3 or so revisions. And usually he doesn't pick all 3 of the revisions. He liked all of all the variations this time. But yeah, art is kind of just about a bunch of mini variations on a concept until you get to the best one.
So when it comes to art animation, what do you see yourself doing going like forward, like for the rest of whatever? I don't want to say for the rest of your life, because it's just like, maybe I turned 50 and now I want to be a doctor. But what do you see yourself going towards more? Animation? Do you see yourself really growing in that area, or do you want to stay closer to like the art drawing version of it?
I see myself going more for animation. Ultimately,
Nice.
I want to have like my own animation studio. I'm still kind of deciding, like, do I want this to be like a profitable thing where like this is what I do and like I have employees and stuff, or if I just want this to be like this is my side brand and it's just on YouTube. Like I still haven't really figured out where I want it in that regard, but I want to do like a bunch of shorts that are just my own, and maybe one day do like a feature length, something that's more or less just my own. Because my sister is also an artist, so like sometimes she does like concept art for me, or the visual design and stuff. So like we have a powerhouse. We can do it. It's just like it's the time and the labor that's involved.
I mean, yeah, that's great that you have somebody you can kind of permanently collaborate with. Is it your older sister or younger?
Younger, only by like a year though.
Oh, so yeah, she got to do it. So of course. you can take her in a fight. So yeah, she does it with you and everything. It's great. Was art like a thing that's like family, or is it just like, did your parents have a hand in art, drawing, things like that?
It's pretty much just me and my sister. We have some cousins. Like, if you look at the big family picture, like, there are other artists, but like when it comes to the people we were around, it's pretty much just us.
Oh, okay.
And if I recall, when she talks about it, she started drawing because I drew, and she wanted to draw as good as me. Now she draws me out of the water. She's ridiculously good. But
Cute. Oh, that's nice.
I don't know why I was drawing. I think I just liked picture books. I like animations. I like painting. I just liked artistic things. I'm very crafty. I do all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's one I like to hear that, because I do all types of stuff too, and I'm thinking like, am I doing too much? So I guess no, I'm not the only one in this world doing too much. It's all of us. I mean, and I can understand that you fall in love with doing something, and along the way you find something else that you really love too, and then doing that you find this. So I totally get it, and I think you're doing a great job. I mean, when I first saw the logo, as you said, I saw 3 different variations of it, and I was just like, I like them all. So it was kind of up in the air whichever one we picked. I'm like, I like them all. So I think that's really beautiful. I think it's great too. I think it's nice that you and your sister work together. Me and my husband, we do a lot of stuff together too. So it's always nice to have somebody that you know you can depend on, and if they start slacking, you can kind of get on them like, you know what the hell you should be doing right now. So I really love that. That's so beautiful. Brittney, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for doing our logo. All of this would not have happened if that logo did not show up, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I am so happy that you came on.
I'm glad to
And
be
do you have any type of social medias, how people can follow you, find you, request you to work for them and do stuff? Well, you're not doing it. She's not doing it, so don't ask that. But how can we all follow you?
You can follow me primarily on Instagram. My handle, I believe, is BL Galloway. BLGALLOWAY. There is a Sleepy Gallows Instagram, which is just at Sleepy Gallows. It's not very active though. And if you just want to generically see my work, if you Google Sleepy Gallows or go to www.sleepygallows.com, you'll see a lot of animation and some of my sister's illustrations too.
Hey, nice. A little shout out to your sister too. Thank you so much for joining us. I also want to say thank you to Relatable Nerds for also coming through today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the Nerdium. You guys know where to find us on Instagram at the Nerdium. Luckily, we got that one. So I will see you guys next month. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Everybody have a safe convention season. I know that started this weekend. So everybody have fun, be safe, drink tons of water, and have a good one.
All right, here we go.
Hey, we here.
We here. All right. Indeed. What do we have going on today?
All right. So what's going on, everybody? My name is Maurice. I am the executive producer of the show, The Nerdium and Buzz and Bizzle, and this is my colleague Elma from. She's also a producer, and she's the head and the founder of Elma and Company. You can see on TV on Channel 19. So what we're doing here today, we are just filming. We're getting ready to film The Nerdium. It's one of the productions with B-Side Studios. This show is about nerd culture, so anime, cosplay, comics, games, all that good stuff. So the host is Elizabeth Tompkins. She'll be here very soon. Okay. She'll be talking with a couple of guests, and then we're filming Buzz and Bizzle after that with comedian T Bizzle. So it's gonna be a good show.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So now we see here we're in the control room. Where all the magic of TV happens. The 2 screens aren't on right now. They will be on very soon. But we're going with a whole system to be able to capture all of this. So, yeah, it's going to be...
There's a whole new system.
Whole new system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing a whole new everything because even like new soundboards too as well, and a new prompter as well. So everything's gonna be new.
Look like some Men in Black type of.
You know, seriously,
the future.
It really does. And crazier when you have those screens up. All right.
This.
3, 2.
Pow, 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 we up in here. This your girl T Bizzle. Welcome to the Buzz and Bizzle Show. All right, we got a lot to talk about tonight. I got some special guests. One of my guests is going to help me lose this fupa we got in the front. You all will meet her in a little bit. Her name is Jovi Marie. And then my son, yes, I said his son. You'd be surprised. I got some kids. I'm actually a granny too. But that's another story. But my son, Crow Cutter, or you can call him Crow, he gonna come in today and we're gonna talk about life while we out here lifing. That's what we're doing today on the Buzz and Bizzle Show. But you know how I always start, I come in and give you my song. So my song for the month of May is Bop. Don't hurt me, baby, but that's who made it. And I like that because you want to put some bop in it. I think if we go in the world, like you in the morning going to work, or coming home in the evening from all the traffic, put a little bop in and make your day go.